Welcome, friends. Thank you for visiting my website, putparadise.com, where we're focused on options trading and providing training content to beginners. We're delivering consistent returns, potentially 50% annual rate of return while trading for only around 15 minutes per week. I'd like to invite you to download my free guide called the Put Path Options Trading System, which is a checklist that outlines our trading methodology. Okay, let's dive right into today's post on trading discipline. So I originally made this post in November 23rd, 2025, when we had a down period in the market. We had a week where all four major indexes, the QQQ, SPY, IWM, and DIA all went down. So I felt like this post was really trying to get to the psychology behind the system and the discipline behind making trades, even when markets are going down. So I wanted to remind everybody of the importance of staying disciplined, staying consistent, staying methodical and mechanical with the trading system. So when you're trading put credit spreads, we're basically trading a neutral or bullish position. And in these down weeks, we can start to rack up losers, which can be hard for people's psychology because you may lose several of the trades at once. In our system, we have 12 different trades that we're doing. 6 of those are stock derived underlyings, and 6 of those are non-stock derived underlyings. So we try to balance out the risk. However, it's easy to get scared. There's panic selling. There's sharp market drops that happen, and it's easy to fall into revenge trading, fall into all kinds of bad patterns. So, of course, I don't recommend doing that. I recommend selling out at the 200% max loss, making sure that you stick to the system, making sure that you are putting on new trades in bad weeks, and closing out the losers. So I believe I closed out 9 losers in that week, which was very high for 2025, maybe the highest in all of 2025. So turned out, and I'm making this video third week of December, looking back on it, it turned out that the year actually came back to what we would normally expect. The volatility dropped. The VIX is now back below 16. But at that time, you're just going on faith, right? So we did actually rebound in November. November was a profitable month overall for this system. And during that duress, we stayed calm, mechanical, stuck to the fundamentals of the process. Did I like losing the 9 trades? No, but it is part of the process. A lot of people struggle with closing out losers. They try to roll, they try to, leg out of trades, they try to do all these things to not bank that loser. I encourage you to stay mechanical, go ahead and close out your losers. It's going to give you that capital back to get to your next profitable trade. So another scenario that I want to caution you against is opening up a revenge trade, which is basically, take the example here on the screen. We had 2 trades that we put on, IBIT and SMH, that we put on the same week and had to close them out that same week before the Friday expiration. So in this case, these trades were expiring in December 12th. So I could have, because they were still close to that 28 days to expiration, which is our target, I could have gone ahead and reopened those new trades and tried to be profitable in that underlying, in that calendar period, and revenge trade. In other words, you take the loser, you turn it into a winner. Now, I don't do that because I believe that once you've lost for that week, you move on, you take it off the books, and you forget about it. So I never open up new trades in weeks that I've already lost for that same underlying. I call that chasing or revenge trading. You want to take that risk off the table. Sometimes the market's going to beat you. Sometimes it's telling you to get out. So you don't want to go back and put another trade on that same exact week, because then you could double up and lose another trade for that underlying in the same week. So now you've doubled the losses and you're starting to spiral. It's kind of like at the poker table when you're on tilt. This basically means you can't do anything right and you're starting to make bad decisions. And I did that in 2023 occasionally with very poor results. So again, losing is part of the system. We strive for 85% winners. So the flip side of that is 15% losers. So if you're trading 12 names a week, you can expect, on average, 2 losers that week. So, 9 losers in 1 week is really poor. However, when you go through these periods where you have a sharp rise in volatility, so you can look at the VIX, you can see the VIX got above 25 for that week. It was the highest since April. So in 2025, we had the trade wars, we had the tariff issues in April. The VIX got up to, I believe, 40 or even 50 in April. So this is the highest that the VIX has gotten since then. So it was around 25 in this particular week in November. So what we typically look for after the VIX rises sharply like this, you expect the VIX to decrease. You don't know when, and you don't know how long it's going to stay elevated, but you know eventually it's going to compress and it will come back down. So when you start getting into the tail period where you have a slow falling volatility, that's when you start to make your money. So we expected the VIX to eventually start falling, which it did, and we started to see winners, which we did. So again, stay mechanical, stay with the system. You don't know when the VIX is going to start coming down, but eventually it does. So what we did was we stayed with the system. We eventually had a lot of profitable trades at the end of November and the beginning and middle of December. The VIX gets filled up like that proverbial balloon, fills and fills and fills, and then it slowly starts to leak back until the VIX goes down into the range that we normally see it in, which is typically recently 16 to 18 range, where it's been most of 2025. So again, what we predicted in November did come to occur, which is the VIX started to normalize. The positions that we priced and we sold at the end of November became profitable in December, and we started to rake in those profits. So just again, looking back, I just want to encourage you, stick to the system, even in times of increasing volatility or when volatility is uncertain, when volatility is bouncing around. Don't change up your strategy. Don't start to buy puts. Don't start to, buy calls even. You don't want to capitulate when the market is going down, meaning you just give up, because you definitely don't want to start to chase your trades or revenge trade. You don't want to get scared even. A lot of people will get scared during periods of volatility and they won't put on any new trades. So that's a bad mentality too, because when you do see these periods of increasing volatility, you're going to have a lot of benefits. So the benefits are, especially when you're doing put credit spreads, which we do, you're going to get that downside risk protection because you have friction between the buy and the sell sides. You're going to get built-in pricing increases, meaning your sell side, when you have increased volatility, that put that you sell is going to have an increased price. So you're going to be getting more profitable trades. And you also have an increasing distance between the stock price and the strike price. So normally we see around a 5% drop between our current stock price and the strike price that we see 28 days out. When you start getting an increased volatility, you may see a 6%, a 7%, or more drop, which is going to give you additional safety margin over the 28 days. So just want to encourage you, stick with the system. When volatility is increasing, when volatility is flat, it's going to come back. You just have to stick to a disciplined approach, focus on your long-term profitability, focus on controlling your emotions, and not get upset by these short-term financial losses. It's interesting because, again, I'm making this video in December, and exactly what I predicted during the blog post actually came true. We saw our profit and loss increase. We saw the backslide slope of the VIX occur. So we had the long tail, and now the VIX is actually under 16. It closed today, which is historically very low. So again, just want to wish you the best of luck with your trading, and stick with the system, stick with the put path options trading, and we hope you enjoy yourself and stay disciplined. That's it for today. Leave comments below. Try to get my PDF guide when you can. Download that free guide. Get on our mailing list and stay with us. Enjoy.